Hello! Welcome back to Who Needs a Superhero? Chapter 4 Iron Man Salvation by Success. This is part 5. Iron Will, Rusted Life. At least one biblical hero would emphasize with Iron Man's plight. Like Tony Stark, the Old Testament's David had it all. Good looks, women, heroism, fame, wealth, and kingship of Israel. Mind you, David had to work for it. Remember the story of the shepherd boy squaring off against Goliath? The Philistine giant not only topped David by several feet, but he was armed with the ultimate technology of his day, iron. Goliath's armor was bronze, but the head of his spear weighed in at 15 pounds. Presumably his sword was also made of iron. The Philistines knew the secret of working iron, but the Israelites didn't. One reason the Israelites worked so hard, pressed by the Philistines, was because the Philistines' iron inevitably prevailed against the Israelites' bronze. King Saul wanted to give David a little help against Goliath, so Saul ordered that David be dressed in the king's own armor. But Saul's war gear was too large and heavy for David, more of a liability than an asset. Besides, David knew that armor and technology would not decide the outcome of his confrontation with the giant. The battle would favor the one who trusted God. Sure enough, armed with a sling and 5 smooth stones, David vanquished Goliath, and in an unexpected upset, the shepherd boy used Goliath's own fearsome iron sword to behead the fallen giant. This was David at his best, relying upon God. Sadly, David did not always practice such wisdom. As he grew in power and prestige, David increasingly relied upon himself and his own resources. For a while, that strategy appeared to work. The Israelites learned the secret of working iron, and David's iron blade forces ended the Philistines' threat once and for all. When David had a spat with his wife Michal, he simply pushed her away and broke off relations. After all, he had other wives and concubines. When his heart lusted for the married Bathsheba, David pulled some strings and had her soldier husband killed in battle. When you can take everything you want, why deny yourself anything? When your own hand can fulfill your heart's desire, why call on God? Yes, David had it all until he stopped relying on God. When David began to put his faith in iron, the iron of his sword, the iron of his troops, the iron of his own will, everything turned to rust. Maybe you've never heard this part of the story. David's family fell apart. One son died in infancy as a result of David's infidelity. Another son, Amnon, actually raped his half-sister Tamar. Yet another son, Absalom, later murdered Amnon in revenge. Inexplicitly, David did nothing to address these issues. Perhaps he was crippled by the memories of his own indiscretions and violent deeds. David's kingdom also tottered. Years after killing Amnon, Absalom raised a revolt against David and sent his father fleeing into the wilderness. David's closest advisors sided with Absalom and joined the revolt. In the battle to regain the throne, the bloodthirsty Joab slew Absalom. In doing so, Joab expressly disobeyed David's orders to spare his son. Absalom's death broke the aging king's heart. In his last years, David's wives plotted behind his back, each vying to put their own son on the throne. On his deathbed, David spent his last breath planning revenge on his enemies, coaching his heir Solomon on whom to kill as soon as he claimed the throne. Joab was top of the list, and within a generation of David's death, the kingdom he had built of blood and iron was divided by civil war, never to be reunited. This is the end of part 5. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, hit that wonderful notification button, and share your wonderful comments. And of course, share this out with anybody that you choose. Bye for now. God bless.